Good morning, Mohawk. In the news for this Friday, October 21st, a bridge collapses during morning rush hour in Seoul, Korea. 2 teachers have been wounded during a student's rampage in a Toronto high school. And our top story for today, a senseless shooting spree following a robbery has left 5 people in hospital and 2 suspects still at large in Port Perry, Ontario. Jody?
A massive manhunt continues for 2 men wanted in the shooting of 5 people last night in Port Perry, Ontario. 3 police officers and 2 civilians were shot as the 2 men fled a Bank of Montreal branch they had just held up. The suspects fled on bicycles, then forced a man to drive them away in his van, which was later found abandoned. Police then thought the suspects might be hiding in a house deep in the bush, but that lead has turned up empty. 2 officers were shot in the head, the other in the arm. Bank manager Alan Knight was shot in the leg, and Debbie Taylor, who works at a real estate office, was shot in the back. All 5 victims are in stable condition. Police say it's possible the 2 suspects may be convicted murderers who escaped from prison on Wednesday. CBC's Brooke Oculus has more.
2 armed men burst into this bank shortly before 8 o'clock last night, closing time. Witnesses say they left with a bag of money, and then police rushed in.
I heard the shots, dove in under my dashboard, seen the officer falling to the ground. He got up with a pool of blood underneath him. Then he got to the side of my car, staggering to it. I yelled for him to get in. A plainclothes officer also told him to get into the car, and then I drove him over to the hospital.
3 Durham Regional Police officers were wounded. One was airlifted 100 kilometers to this Toronto hospital. He had been shot in the face. Doctors described the injuries as non-life-threatening. But they weren't the only victims. The bank's manager was shot in the leg, and a woman working in a nearby office was hit by a stray bullet. She was also flown to Toronto. This quiet community of 3,500 people has never seen anything like this, as hundreds of police descended on the town. Officers with guns drawn patrolled every major intersection. In spite of an intensive all-night search by air, foot, and dog patrol, the suspects are still at large this morning. Bruce Oculus, CBC News, Port Perry.
The Mayor of Toronto is repeating a call for tougher gun control legislation after 2 teachers were shot at a West End high school yesterday. 1 teacher was shot in the leg, the other in the chest. Both are recovering in hospital. A 27-year-old man who attended the school as a mature student faces numerous charges, including 2 counts of attempted murder. Police say the suspect has been admonished this week for skipping classes. Toronto Mayor June Rowland says today's shooting and a shooting earlier this week at an after-hours club that killed 2 men show the gun problem is out of control. She says tougher gun legislation is needed immediately.
Canadians should never return to the days when they risked losing their homes because someone in the family was sick. With that statement, Prime Minister Chrétien has opened a national forum on health care. He told the 22 panel members it is their job to ensure that Medicare is kept within the financial means of the nation. Health costs in Canada have soared in recent years, and many experts say the system is riddled with inefficiencies. The forum is to spend 4 years looking for better ways to deliver health care. Critics say the forum is part of a federal strategy to portray Ottawa as the only reliable defender of Medicare. No premiers or provincial health ministers have accepted invitations to participate. In other health news, it appears Canadians are moving away from fad diets and toward long-term lifestyle changes. A survey conducted for Weight Watchers by Decima Research says almost 3/4 of Canadians who tried to lose weight in the past 18 months did it to improve their health. Weight Watchers Canada spokesperson Marguerite Neri says many people cited permanent eating changes, exercise, and motivation as factors contributing to maintaining a healthy weight. Of Canadians who lost weight in the past year, 65% were able to keep it off. Regionally, Quebecers are the most satisfied with their weight, 74% compared to the national average of 67%, and Quebecers are also the most successful in losing weight, with 66% able to reach their goal. Residents of Atlantic Canada and the Prairies were the least successful at shedding those excess pounds.
Cable TV firms are firmly opposed to the idea of charging subscribers a new fee to support the CBC. President Ken Stein of the Canadian Cable Television Association notes cable subscribers are taxpayers, and he told the Commons Heritage Committee taxpayers already support the CBC to the tune of $1 billion a year. In addition, Stein pointed out cable customers also pay a monthly fee to receive CBC News World. The committee is looking at possible sources of new money for the CBC as part of a wide-ranging study of its future. The money would augment the CBC's annual federal subsidy and help reduce its dependence on advertising revenue. Stein told the committee that viewers want to control what they see, when they see it, and how much they pay for it. He added that imposing a cable tax on subscribers for the CBC runs counter to the consumer expectations of increased choice and control.
In international news, a section of a major bridge that crosses the Han River in the South Korean capital of Seoul has collapsed. Police say the collapse during Friday morning rush hour killed at least 32 people. Reporter Tom Wagner in Seoul says the bridge had very recently been under repair. A bus, a van, and about 10 cars fell into the river when about 50 meters of the 4-lane bridge collapsed. Rescue divers and boats that rushed to the scene rescued about 30 people and recovered at least 32 bodies.
Analysts say yesterday's pipeline rupture near Houston will likely mean higher gasoline prices and possibly shortages. The pipeline, which spilled more than 1.5 million liters of gas into the San Jacinto River, is a major supplier of gasoline to the northeastern U.S. Two fuel pipelines beneath the rain-swollen river burst and the fuel was ignited, sending a huge wall of flames snaking along the river. The burning mixture ignited homes and boats along the river bank. Schools and businesses were evacuated. Dozens of people were treated for smoke inhalation.
The IRA's political wing is welcoming Britain's decision to open talks with Sinn Féin before the end of the year. British Prime Minister John Major made the announcement today in Belfast. He also lifted a ban on Sinn Féin leader Gerry Adams visiting Britain and said all border crossings with the Republic of Ireland will be opened. Sinn Féin Vice President Martin McGuinness called it a move in the right direction at last. But the hardline Protestant Democratic Unionist Party immediately protested, contending the IRA ceasefire is not permanent. With more on the story, the CBC.
Throughout these 7 weeks, Sinn Féin and the IRA have sought to convey the impression that the ceasefire is permanent, but they have not stated this unambiguously. Because they left scope for doubt, I resisted pressure to set an early date for exploratory talks. Instead, we have reviewed their actions, and these have been more compelling than their words. And as a result, I am now prepared to make a working assumption that the ceasefire is intended to be permanent. This means we can move carefully towards the beginning of dialogue between Sinn Féin and the government.
And in political news a little closer to home, George Krywaruchko updates us on Mohawk College's Students' Representative Committee.
We're in the Students' Representative Council's president's office trying to get a few words from our student president in regards to raising awareness for the student referendum on Tuesday, October 25th at 5:30. Here's a few words from Jody.
Hi, my name's Jody Bertozzi. Many students know me as the president of the Student Representative Council for Mohawk College. My other duties include being the director of the SUC, the Student Union Corporation. On Tuesday, October 25th, we have put a motion on the floor to amalgamate both the SUC and SRC. This is a very important event. I, as your president, am urging you as students to come out and take part in this event. It's very important because it will finally bring full empowerment to the students of this college. This amalgamation includes bringing what used to be a two-tiered student government into a single-tier situation. Now this means more control of your student activity fee. So on Tuesday, October 25th, I hope to see you there. If you can't make it there, there are proxies that will be going around the school and schedules will be all over the place. It will be easy for you to see. So as your student representative president, I urge you as students to come out and take part in this momentous occasion that will finally give power to the students of this college and finally mean more power for you and more places for you to find answers to your questions. If you have any further questions, please come up to the SRC office and see myself or many of my staff that will be able to help you. Thank you very much.
There we go.
It's been beautiful so far. We'll go to Laura now for our weather, and she can tell us what the update is for this coming weekend.
Thanks, Jody. We're enjoying unseasonably high temperatures for this time of year, and much more of the same is expected for the weekend. But first, let's go to the national map. Across the country today, it's raining in Vancouver with a forecasted high of 11. Calgary is partly sunny with a high of 7, while Regina is cloudy with a high of 10. Winnipeg is under cloudy skies with a high of 11, whereas Toronto is partly sunny with a high of 16. Ottawa is enjoying sunny skies with a high of 14. In Montreal is partly cloudy with a high of 14, and it's raining in Halifax with a high of 13, and St. John's is partly sunny with a high of 12. Now to return to the local forecast. For most of southern Ontario today, a mix of sun and cloud with a high near 16. Tonight will be mainly clear with a low near 5. Saturday, mainly sunny and a high near 17. Probability of precipitation is 10% today, 0 tonight, and on Saturday, 0 again. This is the forecast right across southern Ontario, including Hamilton, Wentworth, Halton, Peel, and Waterloo regions. And that's the forecast for the next few days. Up after the break, sports.
Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. She thought that I was making fun of her. She made me feel I was 14 again. That's why she thinks it's cooler if we just stay friends.
If you think a marsh isn't good for anything, think again. It's a natural water storage area and acts like a filter to help make our lakes and rivers pure. If you think filling in a marsh isn't the end of the world, think again. To ducks, herons, turtles, muskrats, dragonflies, fish, it could be the end of their world. Take another look. For more information, write the Canadian Wildlife Service, Ottawa.
As much as 30% of employee absenteeism can be attributed to stress and mental illness. The symptoms are all around you.
Support the National Mental Health Fund because it makes sense to care about mental illness.
Every time you waste energy, you take it out on the environment. So start saving energy today. It's not that hard to do. Be good to the environment. Use energy wisely.
At Participaction, we're seeing how active living is the bond for a special friendship.
I know that Stephen and I both enjoy it. It's a definite release. It brings your energy up. It gives you time to think.
You can get a good feeling in your body that you're having fun.
Active living
gives us the opportunity to laugh about a lot of things. Spontaneous activities, it's great.
Active living, feeling good and having fun, moving your way every day. Participaction.
Well, in our very exciting world of sports, there's plenty going on, so let's dig into the meat of the big story. Of course, the NHL lockout. As of last night, the NHL had confirmed the obvious. It wouldn't be able to save the regular game season. League counsel Jeffrey Pash says the official announcement will come soon and will involve a reduced schedule. The Canadian Press is reporting that the league is planning a 78-game schedule with changes to be made weekly as the impasse continues. The 28-day lockout has already postponed 110 games, so as a result, the players are going elsewhere to play their beloved game. The latest player to return to action is Maple Leafs forward Nikolai Borchevsky, who's back in Moscow to rejoin his former Spartak team. As far as other repercussions of the lockout, Vancouver Canucks ticket holders now have the opportunity to get their money back. The team has announced its refund policies resulting from the lockout. Ticket holders get 3 options, from full refunds to 7% interest for those willing to keep their money in the Canucks bank. So even when they're given the money back, they're still trying to make it. Well, in other stick-toting sport, golf, Scott Hoke still holds 2-shot lead after 2 rounds of the PGA's Las Vegas Invitational. Hoke rode 6 consecutive birdies to 8 under par 63. He's at 14 under, 129 for 2 rounds, 2 strokes better than Dudley Hart, Dan Forsman, and Jim Furk. Last night was the big game in the NFL between the Packers and the Vikings, and here's our good friend Jody Morgan from CBC News World with the story.
First quarter, Packers quarterback Brett Favre gets roughed up, has to leave the ball game with a bruised hip, but not before he tosses an interception right into the hands of Minnesota defensive end James Harris. Harris rumbling toward the goal line here. Favre will move over to the sideline, strip him of the ball, but Anthony Parker doesn't miss a step, picks up the bounce, takes it in for a touchdown. 7-0 Vikes. Then Mark Brunell will take over at quarterback in for Favre for Green Bay, and late in the second quarter he scores on a 5-yard draw. That will make it 10-7 Pack at the half, but Fuad Rives will tie it with a field goal with 17 seconds left to play, and in overtime he wins it for the Vikes, nailing the game-winning 27-yarder. Minnesota wins. They hold off Green Bay 13-10 in overtime.
And back on the home front, the BC Lions are shaking up their offense for tomorrow's CFL game in Baltimore. There's speculation that Danny McManus may start at quarterback ahead of slumping pivot Ken Austin. But the head coach David Ritchie is playing it coy, saying he's only toying with the idea of a change. McManus has taken 50% of the snaps in practice this week. He usually only gets 30%. Other changes include Tony Jackson replacing Corey Philpott at tailback and Matt Clark stepping in at wide receiver. On the defensive side of things, safety Sean Foudy returns to the lineup after tearing ankle ligaments in the season opener. On paper, tonight's CFL game is a major mismatch, however. Week 16 of the season opens in Calgary with the 12-3 Stampeders facing the 1-14 Shreveport Pirates. As we all remember, the Stamps are coming off a loss here in Hamilton to the Cats. We'll grovel a little more. They left 2 points with second place Edmonton in the Western Division. The Pirates finally won their first game last weekend, beating Sacramento. And finally, the CFL is expected to change the schedule once more today. According to the Edmonton Journal, the league will shift the November 5th Edmonton-Las Vegas game from Nevada to Alberta. Fewer than 2,500 fans attended the game last week in Las Vegas. And to change the tide a little bit, 2 Canadians have been knocked out of the men's ATP tennis event near Jacksonville, Florida. Sebastien Leroux of Boucherville, Quebec, the tournament's number 2 seed, lost 6-4, 6-3 to Kevin Hewlett of South Africa in the quarterfinals. Toronto's Daniel Nestor was swept 6-1, 6-1 by American Michael Joyce. And finally, there was some exhibition action in the NBA last night, and here's a rundown of the scores. Portland down Boston 121-116. The Spurs squashed the Bucks of Milwaukee 125-109. The Dallas Mavericks defeated the Indiana Pacers 103-91. And in the overseas game, Golden State romped Spain's Balladonia team 122-104. There was lots of boom shakalakas going on. That's it for sports. Now here's our ever so hilarious entertainment guru, Jeff McDonald.
Hi, I'm Jeff McDonald with Mohawk News' entertainment segment today. Well, we all know it's Friday today, so we've had a busy week in the entertainment field. First off the bat, Anna Nicole Smith, former Playboy model and Guess Jeans model that we've all come to know and love, is suing New Yorker magazine for $5 million libel. She says that they lured her into posing in unflattering positions. And going from bad to ugly, Roseanne says that she will not be coming to the Roy Thompson Hall this Sunday as planned, citing last-minute network conflicts. Anyways, McDonald's and Burger King are downgrading profits this year. Also, Annette Bening says that in her new movie Love Affair, she does not have any steamy love scenes with her husband, Warren Beatty. When asked about the subject, Warren Beatty says, "Hey, if I'm gonna have a steamy love scene, why have it with my wife?" But on a sad note, Martha Raye, sadly enough, died at the age of 78. She's a former Polydent spokeswoman who also used to entertain the GIs. Anyways, when asked about the subject, Polydent was quoted as saying, well, when she passed on, her teeth were still pearly white. But on a better note, Raul Julia is recovering nicely from a stroke last week, apparently. He suffered a stroke and is currently in a New York hospital. But anyways, he's in currently guarded condition right now, and doctors are saying they're very optimistic about a full recovery for the star. And also in the O.J. Simpson trial, Lance Ito is currently reading a book about O.J. Simpson murders, written by his ex-wife's best friend. This book could possibly impair the jury selection, Ito says, so he must read it before he continues on. When asked about the subject, Joey Lawrence of Blossom fame was quoted as saying, "Whoa!" Anyways, today in music history, The Rolling Stones played their first gig ever in Paris, France in 1964. After the show, 123 people were arrested, and Keith Richards was quoted as saying to a reporter, "Hey man, come on man, just let me bum a cigarette. Come on, just one, you bloke. Come on, just one, please man." Anyways, that's all for entertainment this week. So, for all of us here at the entertainment segment, good night, good hunting, and go straight home.
This isn't the most important reason to give money to Kids Help Phone. Neither is this. As hard as it may be to believe, neither is this. Even this isn't the reason. Sadly and terribly, this is the most important reason to give money to Kids Help Phone.
Now, this makes a lot of sense on Halloween. UNICEF boxes. I mean, when you think that over 1 million kids in Canada will knock on doors this Halloween, the money they collect in UNICEF boxes will go a long way to help UNICEF's children around the world. So encourage your little goblins to go trick-or-treating for UNICEF. Now, who wants my autograph?
Can we have some candy instead?
Not until you've had my autograph.
You're not gonna find a job just like that. Most jobs need at least high school.
Yeah, dropping out will get me nowhere.
I thought you wanted to be something.
I do, but I can't take it anymore.
Whether you stay in school or drop out is your decision. For a free brochure that might help, call 1-800-461-2525.
And this week, Mohawk television crews took to the hallowed halls of Mohawk College to allow you to speak your piece.
There is no tooth fairy. I don't believe in the fairy godmother.
Just say that. I've never had sex.
Oh, God.
Sometimes I wake up and I just don't feel fresh.
I had a beef about long-distance relationships. I got a guy out in New Brunswick, and the sex isn't very good, and phone sex just gets to be a little stale. So if you could come home, I don't think you're going to see this, but yeah, don't do a long-distance relationship. It costs a lot of money, and it's just no fun.
Okay. I think another one of my beefs is when you meet a girl at a bar and they just want to be friends and you just want to go home and have sex all night long and they just want to be friends. I don't see what the point in that is.
I really hate people who write in the personals to people they don't know, because it's retarded. Those personals, when a person writes a personal, it's usually an inside joke between the person who writes it and the person who's receiving it. And then all these other retarded people come in, and what do? They write personals to people they don't know and complain that they can't spell properly. I think people like that are really retarded.
My beef is people, okay, who come up to you early in the morning and say, here, have a microphone, sit in front of the camera, and start talking about what your beef is, okay? People should realize, oh wait, am I still on? Oh, okay. People should realize that creativity is not something that you just command with the snap of the finger, okay? This is something that has to be fostered, it has to be nurtured. And here people with cameras abuse their power, think they can just strut up to people and put them in very uncomfortable and awkward positions. Lo and behold, hold. They want you to sit down and talk nonstop for about a minute on a subject that is of absolutely no consequence. The net result could be incredibly embarrassing for the average person who walks along beside these people with the camera, and I think something should be done about it. In fact, I intend to strike a committee and further study this.
Today and tomorrow we are having a Looney Drive for the United Way. Money goes back to the people at Mohawk College, the people who don't have that much food. So if you could please give a loonie or anything you can, we'd greatly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
I have one goal in life, and that is to take over Alan Ladner's job when I graduate from this program in another year.
I have a major beef. It's with people that go to the gym for the first like 3 times and they walk around like they're the biggest guy in the world, and they do one set and then they like flex into the mirror for a while and stuff. I really like me. Like Frank Plastino. He's the worst out of all of them. Thank you very much.
One thing that bugs me is that I got 90% in my OAC English class, but then I come to college and I take a reading test and I find out that I can't read and I got to take these extra courses for some stupid reason. So that bugs me.
I don't know what to say other than I'm having a party. Saturday night, 83, number 8 highway, apartment 1. Come out.
And my biggest dilemma these days is beer prices. They're much too high. Back in 1980, a case of beer was like $9. To go to a bar these days, you got to spend like $50 just to start feeling a little happy. So I think the government should lower beer prices so everybody will feel happy once in a while. That's my biggest beef, beer prices.
Beer. There's not enough of it. That's right. There's not enough beer.
My beef is I go into a McDonald's restaurant, okay, and there's 2 size urinals, and sometimes the big one's taken, and I have to squat for these little tiny urinals, and that's my big pet peeve because I have to get down and get dirty, and I mean, there's only one bathroom, and you see you know what McDonald's foods look like. Well, anyways, that's enough about my pet peeve because urinals, they just should make them at one level size. They should just measure the average human and take an average and then just build them at that height. I'm getting real frustrated here. I gotta go pee.
In the world today, nothing is happening except strife and several problems. That's okay. I just went and I drove around the city and I picked up watermelons and pumpkins and smashed them over my head. And finally, I'm gonna let someone else take over because I've had enough.
Well, my beef is when people come over to your house in the middle of the night and turn on the freaking tap and flood your basement and smash pumpkins all over your front porch and your vehicles.
Just say that. I've never had sex.
Y'all ready for this?
We now have an update from the Port Perry shooting. Police in Kingston picked up a suspect this morning in connection with the shooting rampage in a bungled bank robbery in Port Perry and believe the second suspect in the shootings is in the area. No names have been released. However, Ontario Provincial Police say the suspect is not one of the 2 convicted murderers who escaped from a medium security prison Wednesday night.
On behalf of Mohawk Television News, our prayers are with the families of the victims, particularly our classmate Todd Taylor, whose mother was injured in the shooting. From all of us here at Mohawk Television News, have a great weekend.
Jane, I wrote a letter, she should have got it yesterday. Life could be better by being together is what I get.